Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to discuss archaeologists, the closure of the Department of Archaeologists. I've just read that in Europe there are universities that are deciding to that have decided to close their archaeology department owing to the shortage of money. Some of universities decided that enough is better than too much. Is better for us to close Department of Archaeology because they are no longer useful within our faculties. I fully support the universities that are reconsidering the futures of archaeology department. We have to be honest and realistic. In the continent like Africa, many archaeologists were not fair to native Africans. The African shrine, graves of ancestors, were dug up by archaeologists. They took relics, artifacts, and the bones to Europeans, distance away from families. Some of these archaeologists with their institution, even though some of them they say they returned, they will return back the bones to the ancestors of the descendants, to the descendants of those people whom they dug. But these things didn't provide healing because they disturbed natural traditional burials. So which means that if you return back the bones that already are excavated, you disturb them. And some of them, when they return back to these bones, to the communities, they don't return back to the gold and other things that they took from those objects. They just all return those bones only. You can see that and those bones were intended or were supposed to be buried with some artifacts, but artifacts don't return them. They just tell you that they got lost, So the universities should be given full respect and for considering archaeology, the future of archaeology, because archaeology is, unlike other disciplines that has been reforming, anthropology, sociology, they were used as a colonial project, but in the post-colonial Africa, the anthropologists decided to reform, decided to say, no, we cannot repeat. We are no longer discipline of studying native people. We are no longer a discipline of studying primitive societies. We are changing. We are so that we can be able to adapt. Anthropologists now, in the contemporary societies, they are actually doing a lot. They've diversified their disciplines, whereas archaeologists continue to be exclusive. They remain clubs of elites whose job is to study civilized natives. Go to any African countries, Department of Archaeology, ask them what they are researching. They are not researching about things that will develop the countries. They are not contributing to intellectual discourse. They are continuing to cause traumas to many communities around the world by excavating the dead body of the people, playing around with the dead body of the people, the bones of dead people, without considering the pain that the families and relatives and descendants of those who are buried in those graves and shrines are going through. So by closing Department of Archaeology will motivate or encourage them to be innovative, so that when they took archaeological project, they are going to be considerate and think about their productivities. You cannot have a society where archaeology department are not doing anything. They're not part of academic discourse. There are a lot of debate that are going on about, things that are affected societies. Where are the archaeologists? You hardly hear about them. The only time you see archaeologists is when, they're just gonna be, misleading people. Just imagine they were given opportunities to reform or to integrate their knowledge, or diversify. They've never used that opportunities. They continue to isolate themselves from other disciplines. If you look at many disciplines that were used by colonial government. They reformed. They were willing to reform. Museums are decolonizing. Anthropologists have accepted their responsibility. They've diversified their project or their research project or their disciplines. But then archaeologists remain the same. They're not changing, By closing this department, will teach them lesson so that in futures, they will come up with solutions, research that are, relevant to the societies. If you can ask where you come from, what countries where I come from. What is it that archaeologists are doing that? What is it that they are doing to benefit society? They're not doing anything. People don't even know what archaeology is. So by closing them, those departments, I guess it will teach them lesson. This is not happening in Europe. I can tell you in futures, it's going to move to South Africa, Southern Africa. That's where you're going to hear a lot of things there. Because in the southern part of Africa, archaeologists have been behaving as untouchable academics. They were acting as they are much smarter than anthropologists and museum studies people who have been trying to, open for debate, decolonize their disciplines. Anthropologists have decolonized their disciplines. Just imagine archaeologists are not doing anything. They're not talking about decolonization. Anthropologists were in the forefront of colonialism, collecting artifacts. Now they say, no, we're going to work with the museums to decolonize. We accept the responsibility that we have been abusing people. We destroy shrines. We destroy graves. We divide people. Archaeologists accepted that responsibility. Archaeologists have never done nothing, to show remorse. They continue to be exclusive clubs. You hardly hear about their contribution. They are not contributing anything. So that's a lesson for archaeologists that if you don't reform or adapt, the universities are going to close your department and nobody is going to take you serious. There are a lot of opportunities in contemporary society where archaeologists were supposed to be venturing in, but they won't do that. They are much obsessed about dividing people. You don't belong to from this tribe. You don't come from these countries. That's what archaeologists are doing, relocating people. So the closures or giving them ultimatum to reforms or to close their department, I think universities have taken right directions. They should be uploaded. Because if they don't reform archaeology department, the question that we need to ask ourselves will be, what is their role within the societies? They can't just be parasite department. They have to be partners with other departments. They have to work towards the development of advancement of the societies. So for those universities that are considering closing department, I think you're in the right directions. They're not contributing anything, any debate. It's just that elitization of archaeology has caused so many pain. They have to reform, or we close their department. We starve them financially. Without money, they won't advance their exclusive behavior of being, honorary discipline. Thank you so much. That's what I can say about Department of Archaeology. I think if they are not performing, they should be closed. That's what I can say. Thank you.